Teachers in K-12 schools are often positioned as lone leaders, navigating the complexities of teaching and learning by themselves. But a critical civics education, one rooted in student-driven inquiry and action towards justice, requires and demands that teachers and students see themselves and their work in partnership with others, in partnership with the communities outside of their schools, and in partnership with the world.
As civics teachers, you are not alone. There are people and resources that can support your civics curriculum and pedagogical practice, but you must engage in the inquiry necessary to locate, analyze, and utilize these relationships in your civics classes in ways that support, not supplant your students' questions, their sourcing, their analyses, and their actions. Relationships can illuminate the beauty within all communities, highlighting the assets you might be in partnership with in your classes. But relationships can also illuminate the systematic enclosure of life within communities, detailing the structural limits placed on people's lives. And relationships can detail how collectives of people, from the very places our students come from, have always resisted these forms of oppression over time, building new dreams and realities for us to return to.
Consider these three questions. How might you identify the wealth of knowledge, primary and secondary resources that can enrich your civics practices through relationships with your students, their families, and their communities? How might you unearth the ancestral values of the communities your students and their families come from to understand what systems and movements have shaped them and their lives over time? How might you develop relationships with the non-human forms of life in your students' communities, illuminating the often neglected relationship between humans and the land we interact with?
Tara Yasso reminds us that all communities and all students have what she calls community and cultural wealth. This often goes unnoticed and unused in K-12 classrooms.
How might you build the relationships necessary to identify and utilize your students' aspirations?
Their rich communicative methods of storytelling and information exchange.
Their extended familial and social networks.
Their strengths navigating the complexities of their worlds.
And their family and community-based movements towards justice. At times, these assets, struggles, and transformations can be found in the contemporary fabric of the communities represented in your students' lives. At other times, the memories will be historical, her-storical, their-storical. As civics teachers, how might you access these knowledges, people, and struggles? You've got to build the ancestral relationships necessary to do so. Find out who the history, her story, their story keepers are. Locate the formal and informal archives, and build the partnerships necessary to locate ancestral knowledges as they emerge from your students' inquiries, sourcing, analyses, and actions.
Outside of the human relationships, both in present and past, what role might the land play in your civics praxis? Long before we were here, the land existed. What stories does the land tell us? We live atop of land stolen, land worked, land cultivated, land proxied, divided, and sold. We live atop of land that gives life and that takes life. Like the primary and secondary resources emergent from people, what resources might emerge from your relationship with the land? What does the water tell you? The trees, the air, the clouds, the dirt. What about the destruction or abuse of these elements? What do those stories reveal about your civics practices? And what might your civics practices reveal about the future of our human relationships with land?
Remember, you are not alone in your journeys teaching civics for justice. However, those journeys require you, like we ask of our students, to inquire about the world.
What might you learn from your students, their families, and their communities?
What might you learn from the ancestral values of the past?
What might you learn from a deeper relationship with the land?
And how might these knowledges and resources support a civics teaching and learning more rooted in the past, present, and future?
A civics teaching and learning that supports all students' critical readings and rewritings of their worlds.